Have you been to the Nazca lines in Peru? Those are the depictions
No,
on the
I haven't
Peruvian
been there.
plains, the desert that supposedly are runways or chariots of the gods. Eric von
No.
Daniken, who I'm sure you've met and spoken
Several
with.
times.
Several
We had a
times.
bottle of wine together
Oh, is
one
that
night.
okay? All right. I had a beer with Stan Friedman. He's the Roswell researcher. So,
Oh, I've known Stan Friedman was one of the first people not the first, but besides the ones from Washington, Stan was the first one we met who was not government connected.
a nuclear physicist, itinerant
Yeah,
nuclear
I think it was
physicist
out
at
in
the time.
Bonnie and I were going to do a program, Phil Donahue show, and I think we stopped. I'm not sure. Pittsburgh, and then Stan heard we were there, and he called us and came by, and we met. Yeah, and we still keep in touch.
You've been to Gulf Breeze, Florida, Pensacola, which is the site of Hurlburt Field, which is special operations, highly trained military operatives they're independent of the Army and Air Force. There are some of our highly skilled troops. You've got Eglin Air Force Base, highly sensitive installation.
Fort Walton Beach.
Fort Walton Beach, you know it. Pensacola Bay, and hence we have a man by the name of Ed Walters, November 1987.
I've been there.
Starts taking pictures of these odd crafts. People are saying they're hoaxed. I've spoken with Ed Walters. The jury's still out, in my opinion, on Ed Walters. A group forms called the Watchers. They sit at Shoreline Park looking over Pensacola Bay, Santa Rosa Sound every night and see what people say are UFOs on demand. I take the trip down to Gulf Breeze. I sit with these people, and they're oohing and ahhing at these red lights. I said, look, there's a UFO. I said, no, that's a plane, a taxiing plane on the way into Eglin. Well, what about that one over there? I said, near the radio tower? They said, no, right there. And I said, that is the radio tower. Another one, woman says, we see these red lights traveling along the surface of Santa Rosa Sound. And I said, like those ones out there? She goes, there you go, UFO. And I said, they're car tail lights. You can see the car driving out. So I've sat with these watchers, and they cannot identify an aircraft, let alone a star in the sky. I think they were desperately wanted to see UFOs, and they got them, but they got mundane phenomena. What's your take?
Unfortunately, I don't think anybody. I saw the original tape that Ed Walters made of a UFO. It was a UFO. Now, I don't know about any enlargements or any of those things, but I also saw the spot where the UFO landed, left marks in the ground.
I don't have a beef
Now,
with,
this was
with Walters.
Okay, first of all, I have friends that lived at Fort Walton Beach, and I go down and stay 3 or 4 or 5 days. Well, I would go down there, and people would ask me all about UFOs. And I would say, if you see a UFO, do what we do in New Hampshire. Take your camera and film it. And Ed Walters did.
And this footage was spectacular. The Watchers, meanwhile...
The original filming was not spectacular. It was just a plain, ordinary, red, glowing UFO.
Yep.
And it landed in the schoolyard.
And
it left marks.
And then the definition of the object took shape in the photographs.
Okay, now the enlargement. I've never seen a UFO, that kind of UFO.
And if people,
but it could be.
People tried to claim that Ed Walters hoaxed it, yet there are other people that, unbeknownst to Ed Walters, that were seeing the exact same type of craft in the sky at the exact same time that Ed Walters was.
You know,
so, in my opinion, Walters could be the victim of a hoax, but he was not the hoaxer.
Look,
that's my opinion.
I talked with people. If all you got to do is go to Pensacola, go back to old newspapers, 1950, 1960s, and you're going to find all kinds of reports of UFOs. They're not new there. They've been there for years.
That's right. Now, and again, I call Pensacola, Eglin Air Force Base, Area 51.
I've been at Eglin many times.
Gulf, though, I call it, because it's a sensitive installation. We've got the Gulf test range where we run missile runs, torpedo runs we ran in World War II. We trained our pilots out there, but it's a sensitive area. And again, getting back to, if UFOs are visiting, they're going to go to where the party is, where we want to know where the entertaining people are. You'd be over Los Alamos, you'd be over Sandia Laboratories in Albuquerque, you'd certainly go to Eglin, and you'd go, as we mentioned, Area 51. What's your take on Area 51, Betty? Do you think that they're hiding down?
I don't think that's UFOs.
Okay.
You know what I think it is?
Indeed.
I think it's when we captured planes from other countries and we're testing them out. We did it at Area 51. Also, the last thing I read was that area was so polluted with radioactivity that they moved everybody out.
So you and I think alike in that respect. I think that there are black aircraft like the SR-71, the F-117 stealth fighter B-2 bomber, and there are red aircraft, Operation Red Hat. They run red flag games out there whereby they take their enemy's aircraft, the Soviet Union MiGs, and they test them. They want to find their Achilles heel, their weaknesses, so you'll continually... So why not put up a UFO story? Yeah, we got flying saucers here when the real agenda is we've got Soviet aircraft.
Right.
Moreover, we've got a lot of Soviet aircraft, and if you could imagine if they could deploy those aircraft in an arena of combat under their enemy's colors, there you go. So the government, that's why they never sought to quell the talk about UFOs. They just didn't want you to look at the base. You know, you can talk about UFOs there.
And it also, if it's polluted with all this radiation,
Sure, I mean,
it also could be a health factor.
there were a lot of nuclear shots out there. I
Yep.
mean, it's still cratered to this very day.
Yep.
So we basically, in this interview, taken a walk across America, discussed Roswell, Gulf Breeze, Area 51, hot spots of UFO phenomena. Do you think the Great Lakes is a hot spot for UFOs? Do you believe in something like the Great Lakes Triangle, for instance?
I know there's a lot of sightings. They follow waterways.
Do you have any...
They go up the St. Lawrence River.
Can you equate UFOs with, say, instances in the Bermuda Triangle, or are they two separate and distinct phenomena?
Oh, I think they're separate and distinct.
Crossing into other areas of Fortiana, like, say, let's just talk sea monsters. You've been to Loch Ness.
I've been to Loch Ness.
Beautiful place, myself included. You went probably to Drumnadrocket, which is the little hub of the loch. Did you ever see anything strange? Did you see a UFO near Loch Ness?
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
Just a beautiful loch.
Nope.
No
Nope.
surface.
And we went on a tour. We went all over England and Scotland and Wales and
But the
Ireland.
the UFO phenomenon is very deep and entrenched in the UK, in the United
Oh, yeah.
Kingdom. They're seeing them just like we are.
Yeah, in fact, I just got a card from a man. He's the national director of Mensa. You know the Mensa?
Sure, Mensa, yeah.
Yeah, he's the national director of that in England.
I was,
And he's also involved in UFOs.
I was a member, let's talk quickly about UFO groups. I was involved with BUFORA, which is the British UFO Research Association. I'm a dissenting member of MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. I tend to think that MUFON collects all the UFO reports and sits on them, as if, I think out of greed, that they're going to either slip us the answer one day, or that how can we put this into a database and make some money. And I've known a lot of people that have sent reports to MUFON trying to get information on it, or have a researcher meet a dead-end door with old Walter there, and Walter's retired, nice man. But there was a cloak of secrecy, hence that I think that MUFON is a government agency for UFOs. What do you think of that?
No, because I don't think they get enough valuable information.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So MUFON...
Yeah, I know. I've met Walt. And John Schuessler, who's going to take over. He and I have had contacts with each other. In fact, I think John Schuessler was there when Junior fell off the podium and broke his head.
Okay, so
And then Dwight Connolly, who's taken over as the editor of MUFON, has been here. You know, I mean, I have contacts with these people.
So these UFO organizations are subjective in nature. Each state with its own little agenda on how you'll see your UFOs and what your UFOs will look like. That's the idea I got. Dealing with MUFON people, they're set in their ways as far as what happens. Some are so bizarre and out there in the field that you don't know what to believe. So you've got that. That's where the science breaks out in fissures. You've got individual organizations with their own individual perception of what a UFO should or behave like.
And they
Hence-
don't. You never know what they're going to do.
So it's a massive game of pin the tail on donkey, and a lot of people are getting poked in the you-know-what.
Yep.
Because people are feeling for the answers. Everybody seems to think that they have the answer, when in fact, maybe we all have a certain piece to the phenomenon. Have you ever seen Bigfoot, Betty? I'm in one of the things that I research of Bigfoot in the New England area.
No, I have never seen Bigfoot. However, I think maybe he might have run through my mother's yard one night.
In southern
From-
New Hampshire.
Yeah, because the whole ground shook. And we kept hearing this little noise, and we thought, it's too big for a bear. So we picked up sticks and we're hitting the ground. That's what you do to keep a bear away. Oh, that's what, I don't know. I never met a bear face to face, but that's what we've been told.
So you would not equate them with UFOs, Bigfoot?
Yes, I would.
Okay, oh please,
I
digress.
think, now I say this, now basically, I think Bigfoot is of this planet.
Okay.
But there have been reports of a UFO landing and one footprint by the door of the UFO. It's a Bigfoot. And there's only one print. So it's like he put one foot out, looks around, gets back in. I mean, something's got a huge foot.
So these cases of the equation between Bigfoot and UFO phenomena at least have to be considered.
Right.
Because if you look at mainstream Bigfoot research, they denounce any sort of paranormal influence or association with Bigfoot or UFO equation.
Or if you're riding around in a UFO and you want to clear the area, drop down Bigfoot for a few minutes.
That's a great idea, sure. Stake the place out or scare you out, run you right out of the area. I'd like to conclude this interview, and I want to thank you for taking the time. You've been very informative, and you really opened up my eyes and really set yourself apart from the other abductees.